was Wisp. Maybe it's time for EG to bring back the Wisp.
All right, well, we're only 20 seconds away. Quick predictions. Are EG going to bring it back?
It's still there.
Okay, the magic trick. Shiva.
I'm saying yes. Give us a third game, please.
I'll go with EG again. Not confident.
All right. Well, we'll see if they're confident, because they're going to have to come out confident to take this match. Into the game we go. Whoop, whoop. A lot of pressure on PPD here from Evil Geniuses, his most important draft to date. Our first bans are out. We see Lycan and Razor removed. So Razor being removed is going to open up a lot for Vici Gaming.
I think that
they're actually going to first pick Nature's Prophet, which is okay. That's interesting. It kind of shows a lot.
For them, right?
It worked, but as a first pick, I'm not sure.
I mean, just go stick with your guns. I think you have to ban the Razor against this team, and you have to ban the Lycan because it's Lycan, right?
Yeah. Well, Vici has been prioritizing banning the Tinker as well, which we've seen EG can use fantastically well. So Evil Geniuses, they get Dire Side again, and they are going to be able to pick up 2 heroes, and it's the Nature's Prophet they see, and they will get Zai on the Enigma.
Enigma was shut down in the earlier series versus Newbie, but that was a Radiant Enigma. I think a Dire Enigma is a little bit harder to shut down, and I think this may give them the early game momentum that they need. They need to either like trade or prevent them from taking towers, and Enigma is very good at trading.
At the same time, Enigma gives you so much information about your lanes, because there's going to be a guy jungling there, and that means that your lanes are probably going to be weaker. You will not be able to have a trident, and if you have roaming support, well, you will need to dedicate a couple levels to the Enigma before he has to Malefice at a point where it makes sense. They also go with the Faceless Void for this guy that was just now in the screen. That's Universe Faceless Void. He has some amazing Faceless Void games during the group stage. Let's see if we can bring it up. We kind of jinxed him with the Darkseer thing, but, well...
Doom's in the pool. You know, that Nature's Prophet's been playing on safe lane.
At least if there is a Doom picked up, both Enigma and Faceless Void will be targets. So there is a bit of split targeting from Doom if he indeed does come out. Faceless Void, yeah, I like the hero. Universe is one of those players that can get a lot of farm on the hero regardless of where he plays, which is offlane, of course. So looking forward to that one. I have to say, Vici Gaming, I'm expecting a Doom to come out, but maybe they're going to throw something else in there.
What do you think, Ben?
I think they want to evaluate how EG is going to run this, and it looks pretty predictable. If you look at any other team, they might do like Enigma off lane. We've seen Enigma mid before versus Razors, and we've seen Faceless Void mid, we've seen Faceless Void carry, but the thing about EG is they're so predictable. When you saw the first pick Panda last game, you know it's not going off lane to Universe, you know it's not going mid to Arteezy, it's going safe lane to Mason, which, you know, really pigeonholes your draft.
No surprise there.
It's a big hero for Vici, and it's going to make it hard to play around. But Zai and Universe, for me, have been really, really solid for Evil Geniuses over the whole tournament. Even last game, you know, one slip-up, that was all it was. It wasn't like you were having a bad game afterwards. It was just that moment ROTK got the kill onto Universe. So even though there is a Doom, if we get some Universe Chronos, that certainly is going to be going in their favor. But Vici Gaming, they're notorious just for not giving you space, not giving the opportunity to get a good ultimate, not giving the opportunity to get an opening. They fight so well as 5. The Universe is really going to have to bring his A game here. Yeah,
if anything, Universe probably will need help as well from the support. The most important 2 picks for EG is what's going to be for Zai, which is the Enigma and PPD.
You think?
Yeah, I think so, because if the supports can actually create space for them, remember what happened with the Brewmaster, he couldn't get to level 6. Now, if the Doom can't get to level 6 fast, if they get some couple pick-offs from there, and if they allow the Faceless Void to instead get some farm just in that offlane by creating some space, then suddenly the momentum ties into their favor. And once they hit level 6, with a Black Hole and a Chronosphere, you just don't want to take teamfights.
Well, we might see like a Skyref Mage come out for EG in the next phase if it's not banned, because that can certainly create space on your lane. Really good at putting down some pressure, and also combos well with the Faceless Void. But we're back into the bans the next round, and Vici Gaming are going to take out the Brewmaster.
It's really interesting to see the comparison between Sylar and Mason, because Sylar is a true carry, right? Like, he's a one position in his team. Mason he looks like he's much worse in paper, but the thing is that Mason is not the one player for EG.
It's actually Arteezy.
Yeah, he's number 2 position that actually plays in the safe lane.
If you're EG right now, wouldn't you be scared of like Pugna and Death Prophet? I'm surprised to see them ban the Lich, because if I'm EG, like they don't have any AoE and they don't have any like wave clear either, so they could just do the same thing, Nature's Prophet plus a couple of pushers and just take down all the towers.
Yeah, I guess if you get a Death Prophet, the Faceless Void or the Nima can't jump on Death Prophet before she actually pops her ult. Like if you try to put the
theoretically, but in the last series we saw Vici's Death Prophet just go crazy.
Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, if you pop a Chronosphere and you don't get the Leech and the Chain Frost is there, you kind of have to disengage immediately because you're setting it up yourself.
I think EG just want to fight. I think like Skywrath Mage and Naga Siren potential possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. Like, I think Skywrath could work, and if you get, if you're talking about wave clear, as long as you can hold off long enough that your Naga Arteezy gets his Radiance, maybe you can hold off the tier 2s and turn the game.
I think Naga's too slow, though. She'll develop way too late, and Vici will just take complete advantage of it. I mean, last game, he didn't even get to use Midas, like, maybe once.
True, although unless they get some towers, in which case they can actually have a chance. I mean, with the Brew and the Mirana actually banned out, very targeted bans. We see Mason play both those heroes, and we actually see PPD also as a support play Mirana often. They're really banning out heroes that can make a lot happen in that mid game. So EG, they really have to look for something that can do the same, as well as have a plan B.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
And also those bans tell you that they think it is going to be Universe on the Faceless Void going off lane, since they're targeted at Mason. So Evil Geniuses, one more ban remaining of this round. PPD captaining, taking his time. What would you be concerned about? The push, you said, Ben?
Push, kind of Shadow Shaman, Death Prophet, Pugna, maybe even a Leshrac too, because Shadow Demon's pretty good versus EG's lineup. I'm curious to see whether or not Vici's going to run an aggro try, or kind of like a pseudo aggro try with Doom in the off lane with 2 supports, kind of backing him up and roaming around with Sylar in the safe lane again.
We'll see, and as the Rubik gets banned, the Rubik is an easy pick to just steal that black hole, essentially. You have to catch him in the Chronosphere, you have to catch him in the black hole, otherwise he's going to get an easy steal from any of those 2 heroes. So it's a smart ban, but then again, it's all about banning supports. There's still a 3rd core that can come from Vici Gaming. We'll see what that will be.
How's Arteezy's Invoker?
I was actually looking at that right now. Give me a second.
That's something we've seen. Of course, you got the Enigma, so the Shadow Shaman's still in the pool as well for Evil Geniuses if they want to go that way.
I don't think he's played Invoker at all this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think so as well, but it's a strong combo.
He hasn't. EG hasn't played a single Invoker game at all.
So go for a Weaver instead. That will probably be Mason's hero, still leaving Arteezy's hero open. And a Vengeful Spirit, that means aggression. Heavy roaming, assuming it's going to be a support.
It's a huge counter as well to the Chrono.
Yes.
And we've seen that before. It's if you can tank up just enough to stop the kind of burst coming in, having a swap with the Vengeful Spirit is going to be big. So that's directly, they've got a counter right now, Doom for the Enigma, I would more or less say, since that's a much more reliable target that you can Doom to remove Enigma's threat. And also you've got the Vengeful Spirit for the Faceless Void. So very targeted heroes to kind of actually counter that.
It's also really good versus Enigma. You can't BKB whole if there's a good Vengeful Spear on the board. And it also opens them up to pushing too with the Command Aura, or Vengeance Aura as it is.
Yeah, Vici Gaming is a team that likes to get early advantages. Vengeful Spirit is a support that likes to roam around, get kills. So maybe we're even going to see an Enchantress or something like that we see paired up with a Vengeful Spirit so often that indeed take a gank, get a tower, and Alchemist is on the board.
I actually think that could be an Alchemist mid for Arteezy. I'm not sure if it will end up playing support. The main reason is like, if you're going to play Weaver on the safe lane, it still takes quite a long time to come online, and you want to be able to fight with the rest of your team. So maybe that Alchemist, just with the Acid Spray, will add a lot in terms of the minus armor and could hold some of the towers.
The 2 times that EG played Alchemist, it was Zai playing. So it was 1 win and 1 loss. Let me see, the win was, I would like to see right now, against LGD China. So no, and they didn't have that in the Vici Gaming. So we'll see if that's a support Alchemist. It's going to be a support Alchemist and an Enigma as well there. We'll see what those 2 can create for the other 3.
Unless they want to really mix it up. We've seen Enigma go offlane earlier on in this tournament as well. There is a slight chance that Universe will not be playing that Faceless Void.
Yeah, well, the good thing is if EG are keeping us guessing, so hopefully for them they're keeping Vici guessing, but I'm sure Vici know exactly what's going on. Ancient Apparition was the last pick up for Vici, and our last two bans was the Death Prophet for the push that Ben was worried about, and also the Obsidian Devourer.
The Pugna is still on the table for Vici Gaming if they want to take
10
that.
seconds remaining.
The Shadow Shaman was ignored completely for those two, and it's going to be a Viper Artesian. I don't want to alarm people that when Artesi played Viper in the group stage, he went 0-5 10 minutes into the game and was one of those disastrous losses that they had against, I think, Team DK.
All right, well, it'll be interesting to see what EG do in terms of lanes and when they're going to take everything. All we know is the Enigma should be in jungle, and Super is going to it pushes, it goes mid. It's what they needed if they get an early advantage, and that's what they're going to be looking for here. EG, they need to weather the storm. They need to get their lanes just going okay, because if they get the flow, they should be able to play their game. They do not want to go out of this match without being able to play their best.
Well, let's see if this chance can actually bring their game together, because this might be their last game in International already.
Yep. One more chance for Evil Geniuses. Let's see if they can bring it back. We'll send it over to the commentators to bring us the match.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at the commentary desk at Key Arena live for what could be EG's final game of the tournament if they can't put it together. I'm LD. I'm joined, of course, to my left by Cinder. And with that being said, Sind, what do you think of the overall draft? Do you think this is the kind of draft EG need to take down Vici? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Completely sure. Yeah, it's easy to pass it over, right? Then you don't have to have an opinion yourself. Well, what do you think?
Giving Doom away to Vici is always scary, and I'm actually really surprised. Still going back to game one, it was left until the 5th pick, but the 5th ban, I should say. But this is kind of a classic Vici gaming draft. If you look at it, they've got early push potential, a really strong dual roam combo from Fenrir and FY, and they've got tanks. They have the Doom, the DK, and guaranteed siege as well. So they have some access to late game, but the other hero I thought they might consider this game would be the Sylar Morphlane and just lane it with like a super Doom mid, although it's normally RTK who plays it, but they decided to take a more aggressive mid-game approach, and hey, I think that's the right way to take it against Vici. Or against EG. You don't want to let them get into their comfort zone, go late game against Chrono and Black Hole, and they're not going to do it.
Yeah, we see them invading right now. They are not looking for a kill. They're just looking to force EG out and put down some aggressive wards against the Enigma here. I was thinking Vici might have chosen to last pick the Bristleback instead of the Dragon Knight that they played earlier in the tournament. I think this could have been a good Bristleback game. But then again, the thing about the Dragon Knight that makes it a great pick here, he's not a good laner against the Viper. That's the one downside for Super here. But if you look at EG's lineup, they really don't have any wave clear. The only wave clear they have is Acid Spray, and it's on a support Alchemist, so you can't rely on getting it up early. Like, Vici Gaming have extreme push, and I'm just worried again for EG that they're going to need time to get the levels up. Maybe again, we could... I don't think it's unfair to say EG's draft is really greedy once again, and I just don't know if you can pull that off against Vici with how they've been playing these games today.
Let's find out if they can, Sin. With that, we introduce the teams. Vici on the radio, once again, EG on the dial. We've got RTK playing the role of the Doom. Towards the top rune will be Fenrir on the Vengeful Spirit. Going mid, we have Super on the Dragon Knight. And then towards the bottom lane, FY on the Ancient Apparition, Sylar on the Nature's Prophet. Looks like it's going to be dual lane versus dual lane mid. At least to start.
For EG in the bottom lane, it's going to be Mason playing his Weaver together with Zai's Enigma. He will probably be starting on the Ancient since he's expecting his jungle to be blocked. We've got Artesia in the mid lane on the Viper, and then it will be PPD on the Alchemist rotating toward the top here together with Universe on the Faceless Void. And we said in the previous game that the big player for EG had to be Universe on the Darkseer. I want to say it has to be him again on the Faceless Void. They need the right openings. They need to get off to a great early game where they get some pickoffs and prevent Vici from taking the towers. And if there's a hero Universe has been performing on in this tournament, it would have to be Void as his #1. His Chronospheres have been absolutely fantastic the whole tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's especially true since you see the kind of wards Vici Gaming were able to get off. This is the standard move for Zai if his jungle's been invaded and they can't deward, is he will go farm the Ancients. He helps pull the bottom lane, his off lane back as Dire, and it still gives him some farming levels, but he's not going to have that super fast farm that we often see him get if he's left uncontested. So I really like that move by Vici, trying to slow Zai down early, and it does put a little bit more pressure on Universe to perform, but they've also got a pretty good matchup mid. You mentioned that. Arteezy should be able to take down Super, and looking at this off lane, Mason for now is going to have a good time, where he could struggle if the Venge is able to get the jump on him, but currently they have no detection for the Weaver, so that's not going to be an easy kill. So actually surprised they didn't even buy any.
It's funny to see that in game number 1, EG picked Templar Assassin into a Razor that was pretty expectably going to go mid and without any real chance of helping him out in that game. And then this time around, Vici will pick the Dragon Knight into Viper, one of his worst matchups in the mid lane. I guess the other one that comes to mind that Dragon Knight just loses to is, guess what, Razor.
Razor.
But he was banned in this particular game.
OD is quite bad as well.
OD is definitely a hard matchup too, I agree. But this should be Arteezy's lane, so hopefully for him he can get some revenge after Super kind of crushed him, to be fair, in the previous game as he should have. Arteezy will need to pull off a good game, and he's off to a good start, 12-5 against 6-2.
Yeah, RTK is getting a lot out of his offlane on the Doombrainer. Mason's doing okay, but RTK is doing, for now, exceptionally well, though that may change as there's a stun being channeled. He has Puff the Scorched Earth, he's also got the extra armor from Toughness from the Wildcat. They're going to need another bash. They need at least one more to get the skill, probably 2. And I don't even know then if it would have been enough, because he has the Toughness R as well as the move speed that comes out from Scorched Earth, but...
And even a Stout Shield.
You know, when we've seen teams play against the offlane Doom, especially when the Chinese teams are running it, they often block this camp just to deny the Doom that early big creep, but we haven't seen it this game, and as a result, RTK off to a quite a good start in the offlane.
And the reason they couldn't block that camp was that they chose to start PPD in the mid lane. They wanted to secure Arteezy a good start, so, or at least his rotation to the top lane came so late that I don't think he could have been in time for blocking the camp.
Right.
And you're right, this aura creep for Doom actually does more than you might expect at this point. It's
especially against Void. That hero hits very hard at the early levels.
And for a 0 armor hero, this 3 armor is really, really important. So, well, Doom is getting a lot, as you said. Mason not getting as much on the Weaver, and it's, to be fair, it's a hard lane for Weaver as well. If there's any sort of detection on Vici's safe lane, they can just Magic Missile into Cold Feet, and if Mason wants to Shukuchi out of that, he needs to expect a Sprout as well. He needs to tangle first, then Shukuchi, and then perhaps the time for the Cold Feet to snap is already gone.
And they are bringing Dust in soon, so we're going to see Vici Gaming have kill potential here bottom lane. Until you get time lapse on Mason, he doesn't really have a safe way to retreat when the Magic Missile comes, and you cannot remove the Dust without that. So if he gets over aggressive, this could be the kill. But with that being said, FY has shown he knows now they're done, but they'll Sprout him anyway. Oh, Dust deployed. Can they get off any follow-up here? They actually can't get in range. Vici Gaming jumping the gun a bit, and that's a nice bullet dodged here. The push won't be as effective, and on top of that, the Dust cooling down now for 50 seconds. Plenty of time for them to get their farm and levels up.
And they are getting the better out of the map in terms of farm. Viper is still winning mid very convincingly. Arteezy is pretty much tripling up Super there, and the safe lane universe is also winning handily against ROTK, and they have the Enigma factor, which is not the full Enigma power we're seeing in this game since he had to start in the Ancients, but the wards in their jungle have expired now. So if Zai wants, he can start doing the actual jungle, and that will make him farm up a lot faster.
And they're getting good levels than everyone else. You see PPD already hits level 3 in the Alchemist.
Oh, almost 4. Now he's 4.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job, and it hasn't come at the cost of Universe. He's also 5, and he's basically dead even with ROTK. So you do have to look at EG, and the one thing that I don't know how much we discussed it yet, but they have really good Roche potential. With the Eidolons and the Acid Spray, it's going to be an easy kill for the Roche if they ever get any semblance of map control. But we'll hold that thought as Vici are smoked. They're heading bottom, and they're looking for Mason. They've got the Dust up already. He's got to retreat soon, and he might get caught out here. This could be our first blood. Dust. Oh, they'll pop it now. They stun him as well. The Cold Feet comes through. They need a little bit of a block, or maybe not. One more right click would do it. It's first blood to Vici again, but top. The trade comes for EG. They killed off the Doom during that time. Vici just barely getting the first blood, but it's the Dooms had a much better start. So in that sense, I suppose killing the Dooms the better trade, despite. Well, not the better trade, but the better kill. The first blood of gold making up for it.
I would agree with that. Killing Doom right now is more important than killing the Weaver. Unfortunately for EG, I think they would have loved to have that first blood going on PPD for the bonus gold so they could get a faster medallion. They will be looking for the Roche, as you said, and that's going to be one of the key components in being able to pull that off early now. With that gank on Mason bottom, however, I believe Vici are out of Dust and or Sentries, so Mason is able to play with quite a bit of confidence down here. Fenrir is missing on the map as Arteezy is putting some good pressure mid. And look at Arteezy's skill build, by the way. I feel like we almost never see this anymore on Vipers. Almost always maxing the corrosive skin, but Arteezy is taking the most aggressive build you can in the mid lane against this Dragon Knight.
There's a TP coming in. Sylar's here in the trees, and he's looking for Arteezy. Can he get off the Sprout? If he moves just a few steps further away, he's getting caught. Checking the TP status of PG. They do have one on Universe. They also have one on Arteezy. That's not going to help them. But, well, let's see if he joins the fray. He will. The Void's TPing in mid, and EG are not going to give away the free towers they get in the first game. In they go. The Chrono's there. That's on 3. A beautiful setup by Universe. They followed up with a stun. Connects on Sylar. 2 fall easily for EG. And Vici get nothing during this time.
Why am I not surprised to see a 3-man Chrono from Universe? It's been the story of every single time this guy gets the hero. And he's been delivering so far. EG are off to a great start. Similar to how good the start was for Vici in the bottom lane game.
If he gets against Doom, he's in trouble.
Oh, he time-lapsed into it.
If he had headed to the south, maybe he gets away, but they are going to lose their Weaver. Still, you have to say EG are happy with that overall, getting the 3-man Chrono, getting 2 kills, and I think more importantly, Sin is just defending the top of mid.
Trouble now.
They have a Dragon Tail and a Prophet Ult as well. He gets surrounded in the river and bursts down, and Vici strike back. They get 2 in a row.
This is the price you pay on Viper for going for this very aggressive build.
So
with poison attack, throwing out the Toxin. Usually you would imagine Viper surviving that, but he has no extra magic resistance, and the reflect isn't there just yet, or the attack speed is slow, I should say, rather, from the corrosive skin, so...
They'll have to look for a trade during
bottom lane.
They're trying to dive. They're looking for
Sylar. He's gonna get stunned. He's dead.
Gets him. Jams it in. And now looks for more. The chase on the RTK. Swarm already having been used. And with the toughness, I don't think they get this kill, but he can be forced off the lane. While mid, we see Zai very close to level 6, and that's the next level of aggression that EG can bring to the table. Get the black hole in line, go for a smoke, and maybe they just go into the pit. You mentioned Medallion, and if PPD wants to build that, he's only like 400, 500 gold away.
I don't think there's a better choice in this game, and in most cases, even on support Alchemist, it amplifies your concoction by a lot of damage. It gives you the roast potential, and also gives you a bit of armor for yourself, which is great for this hero.
And you're up against Dragon Knight and Doom, who rely heavily on their armor to remain relevant in these fights.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so I wasn't just...
All right, well,
making it up.
You can all go home, grab a coffee. I guess we're headed to a game 3.
Well, he has lost.
That's so true. He's lost 1.
This could be the second time. I mean, based on how Vici has been playing in this tournament, I believe this is one of the games where he has the highest chance of losing on that Void, so...
No. With that being said, right now things are looking pretty good for EG. The way they drafted was very focused around the Roche to me. Like going for Alk as a support, he does give you a nice ganker, but more than anything, the acid spray is so good for taking the Aegis. And the Mimo bottom, Sylar's being dove. He is killed off by Mason. It's a solo kill. Threw the Swarm at him, then followed up with the Sakuchi and finished the job. That's a big kill. And we go from game 1 where Sylar had, I guess you could say, the best farming performance ever on a Prophet, at least for that short of a game, to a game where he's been shut down as the safe lane Prophet of all things.
I was worried for EG when they picked the Weaver after Doom was picked by Vici. It's generally considered one of the best counter picks to Weaver, and they willingly got the Weaver afterwards. But Mason in this off lane, he's died twice, but he's been creating a lot of space, and now even it's definitely been well worth it so far. And the trade-off for EG is that they get Universe absolute free farm in the safe lane, 70 CS at this point on the Void, very early Mask of Madness and Orb of Venom on him, along with the treads, so he has a lot of solo kill potential. There's almost no hero, I guess. Okay, he can't solo Dragon Knight, and arguably not the Doom because he's going for a mech, but every other hero he catches in the Chrono is a very easy kill for him.
And with any sort of follow-up, you can kill those other two. As tanky as they are, they're not that tanky yet. And for now, it helps him split push. He's going to look to take the tier 1 top. EG, this will be uncontested for them. They'll get the last into Universe. Another 500 gold into his pocket after that tower kill.
Actually went to Zai, which I think is even better. Oh, that means the mech is almost there for him. So Enigma, not off to the fastest start. We're used to see Zai getting very, very quick mechs, like 6 or 7 minutes in some cases. This time around will be a little slower because of the blocking, but he's definitely catching up. Considering how much Vici wanted to counter him with their invasion early on, it hasn't really accomplished that much.
Vici are smoked now, and they're heading towards mid. They want to make something happen on this mid lane, and it's not so much about the kill to Mason, it's really about the tower, but can they actually get a jump? The way RTC's position, he's already got backup at the ready, and they've already jumped in. They're going for a Universe is here. He gets stunned though, he gets doomed. It's a bit too soon that he arrives. Oh, it could have been amazing for him. Now they TP further, looking for Arteezy as he heads south and into the pit to find PPD. Can he TP out of time? Just barely. Arteezy also has the TP out. They get the stun though. Now the swap as well. Well, they make sure he doesn't run anywhere. Can they finish him? Just barely with the breathe fire.
Great gank from
And they
Vici
got
Gaming.
the tier 1 mid as well.
The timing on the Doom there from ROTK Universe was mid-animation on the time walk, I believe, and now they find the stack as well.
Something the Out can really take advantage of, something Enigma can farm, but it's denied to EG. They'll lose maybe not all of it, but a lot of the gold here.
Dire's middle
and actually they're going to
tower is
back.
under attack.
They don't want to get chronoed as the Void respawns. But he actually has to run down because he already used his TP mid, so maybe they could have finished that.
They could have probably gone for that, but choosing the safe play, and Sylar is farming.
Come on, Dragon.
Below the cliff.
Sylar really wants you. One more right click. He can't get it. That's a lot of gold.
He's gonna die now.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. Universe spots this one out, and now he can go. He's actually got a chrono. And I'll let it go. Sylar, he pays for his greed. I think. There you go.
Dire's bottom tower
It's
is
not
under
often
attack.
you see someone die for a single Black Dragon, but
And the bottom tower is 1 HP. At the very least, it
Dire's bottom
distracted
tower
them.
has
So
fallen.
it was a
Vici
tactical,
were able to get the tower.
depths, and
great foresight by Sylar.
what a play. Oh man. But it's very close, since it's 1,000 gold lead right now, and
Radiant's
Actually,
middle
we're looking
tower
great.
is under attack.
it's actually going
pulled a
EG's
lot
way.
back.
Yeah, they pulled it back, but I don't think you're satisfied with that if you're Vici, because you still have to worry about the Roche they can go for, and the Medallion's getting close. He's got a Sage's Mask, as we see an Ancient Apparitional. Just heading towards the Roche, scouting that one out, but basically if EG ever win a fight, they're taking Roche, whereas I feel like Vici have to win 2-3 fights to even have a shot at it.
EG just being dire, and their hero composition is definitely very good at dealing with Roshan, so I would agree Vici are still under a lot of pressure here, but considering how it all started out with their lanes and EG's early rotations, Vici have managed to pull it back quite well. If you bring up the last hits, you will see how big of an advantage EG actually has just on raw farm. So Vici being as little behind as they are is kind of attributed to their great rotations now.
Well, speaking of those rotations, they're looking for another. Smoked Up and hunting Arteezy. He's really been the whipping boy for this team, but it's given a lot of space to the rest of the EG squad. And they will wrap around from the side if they can get off this Dragon Tail.
He's gonna get
Done.
caught.
He does get caught. Prophet connects, and now the follow-up there from Fenrir. They'll finish the job, and they still have a Doom available. They can be able to go back in on Zai if they want to, but they're not going to risk it. While bottom lane, PPD is smoked up as well, and he looks for FY on the Alchemist. He's got the stun at the ready. He hasn't started channeling yet, though. And they pass in the night. PPD
Oh, wow.
just walks right by him past the trees and gets nothing. And now Vici look at the tier 1 top. They have Dragon Form available. It's being used to quickly burn this tower down. And I don't think EG will be able to push the bottom lane. There's still a Glyph even ready for
Dire's
Vici.
top tower has
And they have
fallen.
Doom available as
Ice
well.
Blast is up again now, so
Oh, they could maybe go
Radiant's
bottom and get
bottom
1-2
tower
kills
is
with
under
this. They'll
attack.
TP in the Doom, and they're not going to give this up. Vici, they want to fight.
yeah, there's no Blink Dagger on our TK just yet. I'm imagining that will be his next item pickup. So getting in and getting the Doom off is not as easy as it could be at this point, but well, as long as the fight doesn't break out, I guess it doesn't really matter what
Radiant's
items he
middle
has at this
tower
point.
is under
So.
attack.
Well, 3 tier 1 towers have been claimed now by Vici Gaming, only losing the one in the top lane, so.
They can just go Roche, I think. The Medallion's ready, and Universe gets the DD room.
Sylar has had a really hard game. He's died 4 times, and
He
he's
was
still
the-
a 15-minute Orchid. He's almost got it.
They do have 3 towers this game, and they had even more last game, to be
Yeah.
fair. But
But it's still a good timing. It's very rare to get it this early with 4 deaths.
and it's before Universe gets a BKB. In fact, long before it. He's going for what looks to be a Maelstrom. So there will be opportunities for a big silence there. The Enigma also going next.
He's going to jump in on our TK Universe.
He's
Finds
tanky.
the opening, but the
HF
turnaround
doesn't do.
Here's the
And he
Doom's
gets
available.
He has Doom, but he gets bashed. He can't get the Doom off. TPD will stun himself. Actually stunning Super in the process, and he's still pretty tanky here. Mason on the run. Can they finish him up? PPD will fall, and Mason's got to retreat out. HF
There is
original
a
still
time
not
lapse. He'll
available.
use it.
Now Bailey make his way out. Oh, if they didn't get that last dash, he
I'm not
gets
sure
off
he's
Doom.
out just yet.
They have
Sylar
throw.
with the face boots.
He has no Orchid
Goes for
yet.
a blind, perhaps? No, not casting it.
He got a bash right
Radiant's
after the
bottom
chrono ended. And
tower
without
is
that,
under
with the
attack.
mech, I think he gets off Doom, and that's a really bad fight for EG instead of only slightly Vici favored.
Yeah, they still ended up getting a 2-for-1 with EG opening the fight with Chrono, so I guess Vici are going to be very happy with this. They'll be putting a lot of pressure once again, and we're reaching the point now for EG where
They're smoking into
I think
Roche now.
their lack of wave clearing could become a problem at this point, because Vici will be split pushing very hard, and if EG can't push out the
Radiant's
waves
middle
quickly,
tower is under attack.
they'll be under a lot of pressure on multiple lanes at once, and we'll see how they manage to deal with it.
Are they actually going for the Roche? Are they going to look to fight bottom? We still haven't seen a black hole yet this game, but they do smoke near the pit. And if they go for this, they're forfeiting the tier 2, and it's going to be very obvious. They don't. They go bottom instead, And they look for Vici Gaming as they
No
commence the push.
chrono, though.
Remember, there is Doom. There is Doom here, and EG have to find the right angle to getting close. Still waiting from the side. They have no chrono, like you mentioned. The stun will start it off on Super, but RTK can turn this with a Doom. Swap will keep the Dragon Knight safe, while EG don't engage fully. They just try to stall the push, and if they can get Vici to... Oh no, Super's coming in Biz. EG don't have detection right now. This could be very bad. He's still looking for an opening. He wants Zai. He's gonna find him as well. The Enigma's caught, and that's the mech carrier too. Will he shatter? One more right click. He's dropping low. Not dead yet.
Shatter.
He is gonna shatter though, and they have Doom still. So they can go for another kill here. Super being pounded by Eidolons, but the mech keeps him in fighting shape, and Vici continue their assault. Chrono is up. Maybe EG can turn this. Enigma does a buyback, and Vici have to respect that one. They're gonna back off.
I was about to say it has to be go time for EG. They can't just concede these towers and kills for free, so they will at least be, Vici will be intimidated and back off. But, you know, I want to point out how farmed Vici's supports actually are, because we're looking at how much farm the carries are getting in these games, and in this game, Vici Gaming supports have managed to accumulate a lot of farm. So in Venge, we have Face Boots and Medallion. Ancient Apparition is 700 gold away from an Aghanim Scepter.
That is actually
And that's
insane.
huge, because during that 18 seconds, or what is it, I believe, isn't it?
17.
17,
So yeah,
sorry, 17 seconds, Ice Blast. Alchemist Ultimate will regen 0 health. Viper, who is generally a tank build hero, will regen absolutely nothing. The mech will be useless from Zai. Even the Mask of Madness lifesteal for Void won't work. It's a huge pickup in this game, increasing the duration, actually almost doubling it on level 1 from 8 to 17.
And even Weaver, if you time-lapse, you'll go back to your former health, but the debuff persists.
Yeah.
So you can't heal up during that time, and Mason's not that tanky yet. And Vici are going to look to push, actually before they pick it up. They're going to push through the bottom lane. They try to mount their push again.
Dragon form.
They'll go for the tier 2 here. PPD's ready.
On Super, he can just lead the charge. There's no...
They need a black hole. They don't have a blink. It's going to be Universe who starts, but he gets stunned. Now they can doom him. If they can focus Universe down, it's trouble. He does chrono. It's a beautiful 1-on-4, and they lose RTK. Again, no doom. Now the black hole at the final hour. Universe gets the opening, and they wipe Vici off the map. 4 dead. Only the Ancient Apparition who lives through it.
Absolutely huge for EG that Universe manages to get that chrono off in the last second.
He was mid-cast animation on Doom, and I think it was an Alk stun that prevented it.
Great flanking movement there from EG to catch out RTK. I was about to say there's almost no opening for EG, because if they go in and they chrono the Dragon Knight, there is a swap. If he has the BKB on, he probably won't even need to swap him out. And if they do the same on Doom, it's the same story. There's the swap in the mech, so really important for EG that they get a good chrono and a good black hole. And they're not going to end it with that. They're trying to get the tier 1 mid. They might not get it, but at least force out a deny here. Hearing an Ice Blast, it does connect on Mason.
TP on him. And they do have this Orchid on Sylar. We saw
TPing
it
in
in the
the
top
wrong
lane, but he hasn't actually been able to make use of it yet. The one other thing we didn't mention is they still lost the tier 2 in the bottom lane. So the map control for EG, it's not terrible, but it is slipping a bit, even though they win that fight. And they're going to need to get some wards out. You look at the Dire Vision, they've got one towards the Roche pit. And they'll drop a lane ward mid. But Sin, I'm with you when you say the Ancient Apparition could well turn out to be the biggest weapon of Vici's. He's so close to the eggs, 50 gold away now.
And FY has been having some really good snipes in this tournament on Ancient Apparition so far, so Vici can definitely rely on those AA ultimates to hit when they need to.
And if they get, like,
And
say,
they
a
have great
Shadow...
setups for it too.
If they want to go for something like a Shadow Blade next on Super, he can just run around the map setting up pickoffs. But he could go for something more tanky like an Assault Crest. We'll have to see what kind of style Vici want to take this game. They have spotted one out in the jungle. It's PPD. He walks right into trouble. That's a beautiful Dragon Knight stun, followed up by the Vengeful Spirit stun. Just no room for the Alk to move. Now an Ancient Apparition. It's looking for Universe, and it won't find it. No weather range.
Almost.
Dire's middle tower
Now they
is under
push.
attack.
They're in position for it.
And there it is.
And that's a very fast Ags on Ancient Apparition.
He's only level 9 though, so it's not the very powerful ultimate just yet.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower
Still, just
is
the
under
duration
attack.
itself, even if you disregard the damage
Dire's
entirely,
middle tower
just the
has
17-second
fallen.
duration with no heals for EG is going to absolutely crippling. There's even more pressure on Void and Enigma now. They need to land these ultimates in the fight. I'm not sure one of them is enough unless it's on like 4 heroes or at least 3. So both Psy and Universe, they cannot afford to not play their A game.
Any slip-ups here, and EG, it might be a lost lane of Rex if Vici take the fight near their base. You look at their items now, they're not the best pushing lineups in, but they're pretty good. They've got 4 points in the Vengeance Aura, and they do have Dragon Knight. So with that chance, you're at least decent. We don't have a Death Prophet or a Razor with Eggs, but they still hit buildings pretty hard.
And they have the Swiftness Aura on the Doom as well.
Oh,
so
that's true.
Another 15 attack speed for the entire team.
Maybe they're better than I'm giving them
If
credit.
Dragon Knight's going for Kiras, then they're going to be even better. So
I'm totally wrong. Ignore everything I'm
they're doing what they can to prove you wrong, at least. Looks like it's
and then
going to be a
some.
tower trade going for EG here. They'll be going for the
Radiant's
bottom tier
bottom
1.
tower
VG
is
are,
under
if they
attack.
want to defend this, they're going to be too late. The A ultimate will cause a little bit of trouble, so their tier 2 is going to be with a
Radiant's
very
bottom tower
crippled
has
Viper
fallen.
here, and Arteezy will be porting all the way back to base. That does not mean that EG won't try to take this fight, though.
They actually have one in
Dire's
position.
top
Universe, he's
tower
wormed his
is
way
under
through the
attack.
trees, and he sits parked just north of Vici, ready to chrono. He's going to want to catch at least 2-3 here, and ideally you want to grab RTK so he can't get off the Doom. That's been the recipe for success in EG's fights, and they get close to the jump. They've got an outstun prep. Super, will he be able to BKB this one in time? BKB, he doesn't get it off. Is there a chrono from Universe? He waits for the timing. He only catches one, but then Sylar walks back in. He gets trapped as well. Doom from RTK, still trying to get it off. Still trying to get it off. It's only on Arteezy, and it's already
Oh,
too
he
late.
left the black hole! He cast it on the ground.
I don't know if it matters, Sin. They're still forcing Vici Gaming back here. Fenrir's on the run. The outstun, just in range. Connects. It's a two! But there's no follow-up as of yet. They need the Viper in here, and he's driving forward, looking for some follow-up damage. FY isolated, brought down as well. Even with the Whiff Black Hole, they still get 3, and they look for more. Sylar, can he TP this one out? No vision from PPD.
Dire's middle
It's still
tower
pretty
is
huge
under
that that
attack.
black hole whiffs, not for the fight that they just had, but for the next 3 minutes. It's on cooldown. If Vici, they wouldn't have seen it because the animation actually never started, but the sound cue was there that the ability was being cast. So if Vici were paying attention, they would know black hole is on cooldown for 3 minutes at this point. And that means they can go for objectives like Roshan, maybe some damage on a tier 3, or who knows, just any sort of pickoff or taking full map control for 2 minutes knowing that that black hole cannot come out from Zai.
Well, it's going to be up to the chrono then of Universe, which was kind of fortunate that fight. He didn't actually catch Sylar initially, but he just moved back into it. It still did a good job of zoning Vici out, and it separated the Doom from the rest of the team as well. So in that sense, still a decent chrono, but obviously you'd love to catch 3 or 4 and set up an outstun on 2 or 3 after
Universe
that.
jumping out at the right time. Both Sylar and the A ultimate were going easily there.
Sylar really hasn't found, he's found his farm for sure.
He has 5k gold.
Yeah, he's found farm, but in terms of actual pickoffs with the Orchid, I don't know if we've seen a single one this game.
Not really. He hasn't had the same impact as in previous games, but that's because he's had ridiculous impact in previous games. He still had played
still
a very
doing
important
fine,
role in
that's
this
for
game,
sure.
and they've still managed to take 6 towers in 24 minutes. So he's done his job with the trance and the teleport.
What do you think you go for here if you're Sylar? What kind of profit should you be building this game?
I still think a Necro 3 wouldn't be half bad. They have the detection against the Weaver. There are no BKBs yet on the Dire side, apart from the one on the Enigma, so...
And again, they steal the Ancients. This one's uncontested.
Easy farm for Super. Now there's a second BKB, though, for Arteezy, so...
Do they even consider Roshan? You mentioned Black Hole's down, and they just poke their head towards the pit. Immediately, EG pings it. Mason says they might be going for this. Let's try and draw them back.
The problem in the next fight for EG that I want to point out, the reason it went so well as it did in the previous fight was the Chronosphere from Universe was placed in such a way that swapping out Dragon Knight was really difficult. It flipped him on the right edge of the Chrono, so Venge, who was on the left, couldn't really get in range without getting stuck in the Chrono herself.
Radiant's top
Now it's not going to be so
It is
easy.
so. This is one of the best
Radiant
ultimates to get on level
structures
2.
are
It
Same
doesn't
for
sound
FY.
like much. The
FY
extra
gets his level 2
275
as
range,
well.
but it's
It's
one of
huge.
the best upgrades in the game. It's absolutely huge. So.
And especially against the Black Hole as well as
for Black Hole as well. Even with the BKB on Zai, he has to wait for the swap.
Either that or they have to just catch Venge in the Chrono at the beginning, and then you can jump.
But if you see the positioning that Vici are playing with in these fights, they have the front line with Dragon Knight and Doom. They're not standing together, by the way. They're standing like in 2 different positions so they can't get Chrono together. So whoever EG jump on, there's just going to be an immediate swap coming out from the Vengeful Spirit. And it's just going to be very hard for EG to initiate in.
Well, Vici
But if
gets
they
some...
can bait the swap in that way, then the Black Hole could come.
They get some extra initiation now. They pick up a Hex on Sylar at the Radiant Secret Shop, and let's see if they make plays with this one. It's going to be extra lockdown, something that can really punish the Weaver in particular.
And
as
the
Mason,
Void when he jumps in.
Yeah, he's getting close to BKB, I believe, in Universe. Coming on the courier? No, actually he's not that close.
Pretty far off. There's nothing on the ground in base, so still more than 2k to go. And Universe, who was off to a great start.
He's been quiet recently.
Interesting in this game, he had 70 CS at 10 minutes. He now has 110 at 26.
A lot of it just goes to the map control Vici Gaming have created, with the Prophet always pushing in, and with the constant threat of ganks, the lack of towers to farm safely at. He just hasn't had much space, and
he's let the other heroes farm on his team too.
That's true.
They've down prioritized the Faceless Void quite a bit to get farm on Artesia and Mason. It's also generally how the team plays. Universe, he's not a player who doesn't like farm and doesn't try to get it, but will usually try to give it to the position 1 and 2 players in Mason and Artesia. So
yeah, in interviews he's often joked about, well, we have Artesia on our team, so all the farm goes to him. But as a Viper, you don't use it hugely well, and more importantly, you just don't get it very quickly. That's the one thing about the Viper pick is it's just not really like a classic Artesia hero. He's done fine so far, but haven't seen that huge impact. There'll be an ult mid from the Enchant right, and now the Prophet ult.
We'll backtrack that one.
Yeah.
Or no, I actually think he didn't.
Well, he still can backtrack some of these procs, perhaps.
AA is level 11, by the way, as well. I just noticed he started taking a lot of damage on the Void. So the level 2 Ice Blast and level 2 swap.
They're going to need these BKBs really badly.
It's impressive to see that every hero in the game is level 11 or above. The supports on both teams have managed to get great levels up. Now EG are going for a very important play here. This has to work out. If they get countered here, this could be a disaster, and they will be spotted.
Well, that's it for now. RTK just threatening to go in. Well, they'll back off for the time being, but this is the Prophet advantage, Sin. If you have a Roshan skirmish, you just push that top lane, and at some point EG have to go defend. Now, fortunately for them, they're dire, so it's still a quicker trip to the pit, but as soon as one backs and Vici see that, they either can go for a smoke, they can go for a pick-off, or maybe they just even try to go into the pit and take it themselves. But for now,
items being picked up. We saw Kiras on the Dragon Knight as well as the BKB on the Doom.
This is really big against the Alk in particular because he provides a lot of minus armor. It's 12 to be exact. And the Kiras will negate about half of that.
It's still, for me, it's a little curious to see how much they're putting emphasis on these BKBs. When you look at what they're up against, there is the Alchemist Concoction, and a Malachus, but the Black Hole goes through, the Chronosphere goes through, Viper Strike still.
Oh no, mid, Zai in danger of being caught. There's a Dragon Tail already, but he BKBs. He can go for a Black Hole here. The Chrono's on 2, 3 in fact. Universe caught them all, and now RTK, he's brought down. Super's out of the fight. It's 3, 4 dead for Vici. Sylar on the run. Can he TP out? No! EG get them all.
Universe does it again. Perfect Chronosphere.
What a bait by Zai. Runs up onto the high ground, BKBs, and just walks back in and says, I dare you to use your spells on me. And EG really needed that one.
And that's not just 4 kills, that's a Roche too. This is one of the biggest plays you can make in Dota, is to take a team fight into straight uncontested Roshan. EG were starting to get nervous, I guess, about the outcome of this Roshan. They started it before, and then they avoided the fight from Vici, knowing that it could go very wrong, and now they just safely get it. It's easy at this point, and will. What a big play.
Again, Universe's Chronos. It just can't be overstated. I also have to credit Zai. He ran up onto the high ground, BKB'd, and then came back in. So, yeah, you can doom him at that point, but you're not bursting the Enigma quickly. And if you use that doom on him, it means the Weaver's free to move in the fight, the Void's a guarantee with the Chrono, and they just baited Vici in. Vici took the bait. They thought they would get that Dragon Tail off before he made it out of vision, but they just couldn't do it. Still, Vici have their weapons. They've got the pick-off potential from the Prophet and the Ancient Apparition. But, like you said, it's just a massive momentum swing for EG, and more than anything, gives them a shot of confidence after just kind of being out-controlled this whole game. And you can see it in the graphs. It was never a huge lead, but it was more of like a mental lead, if anything, that Vici might have had up till that point.
EG, they have a lot of ways of taking the team fights. I was saying before, let's look back 10 minutes. I was saying they have to hit the Chronosphere and the Black Hole in the fights, or at least get a whopping Chrono or Black Hole. I think now, with the position they're in, the 2-man Chronosphere is sufficient, since even if it's on the Dragon Knight, who's very tanky, or the Doom, they have the level 4 Midnight Pulse that they can drop on top of it. Viper's starting to get some significant damage just by leveling up, getting a lot of stats, and of course level 3 on the ultimate. And Void, as well as the Weaver, they're getting big items now, and it's it makes EG's draft a lot more flexible at this point in terms of initiation. They don't have to go for these perfect team fights, but I mean, if Universe can keep pumping them out, then I mean, why not?
Well, with the kind of chronos he's hitting, you want to take every team fight that's offered to you if you're EG. And I just have to say, Sin, I don't think, have we seen a fight-changing Doom this entire game? No. That's almost unheard of. The hero has just done so much work at TI. We saw a refresher Tide just get completely destroyed earlier today by a single Doom in the Cloud9 series earlier, but they've just done such a good job of shutting him down. In one fight, it was an unstable concoction. Another, it's the Chrono. A third, it's the Black Hole. He just can't get his spells off. And it's really costing them. They might jump top now, though. They get the swap off, and Arteezy's going to be caught once. Do EG try to turn this the second time around? Age is down. Doom is ready, but they'll settle for that. They'll force the TPs, and they're going to slow roll it and back off.
Good call by Vici to back off here. They know they're close to the base. Arteezy will definitely be reinforced, and they kill him and they force, I think, 2 or 3 TPs, and Super wasn't even there. They actually went for that gank with 4 heroes while Super is now looking to push up the mid lane, so great movement out of VG. They buy some more time, some more space, although it is at the cost of the top tier 2 that Enigma's Idolons, of all things, managed to bring down here, together with the creep wave.
Yeah, speaking of that Enigma, Zai, I wouldn't say he was shut down, but he was slowed down by the early wards, and yet you look at his farm and he's kept up. He's even with his own team's Viper, and he's only slightly behind Sylar's Prophet, who you always expect to get a ton of farm as one of the most just quick flash farming heroes in the game, I guess is the term for it. But now he's got a Shiva's Guard coming his way if Zai wants to purchase it, and along with that, you're looking at a probable Assault Cuirass for Arteezy, at which point Vici Gaming, they may struggle to burst anyone down during the Doom or the Hex if they can get them off.
It seems like a clear call from EG here to get some armor. Plate mail on both the Enigma and on the Viper, and defensive items all over pretty much. BKBs, Lincolns on Mason. Interested to see what his next item is, if it's just going to be the classic Desolator. And I wouldn't be surprised to see PPD picking up a Vlad's as well for extra armor. So the reason armor is so good here is that Vici, yes, they have the Doom and the AA ultimate, but after that, it's almost strictly physical damage coming out from the minus armor from Dragon Knight as well as the Venge, and then the way Vici get kills is by just attacking people. And they, with these plate mails, they more than negate the Kiras effect on their own team. And well, it's going to be a Shiva's on Sai probably, and looking for a Kiras to come Arteezy's way. I have no idea what we're clapping at. I didn't actually see what's going on.
Just the big items being picked up. Zai's now got a Mystic Staff, and well, Vici Gaming are just looking to wait out the Aegis. Actually, it just well, never mind, they popped it earlier, but I guess they wait for the next Roshan at this point. They don't really seem to have a clear way to start the fights right now, with EG having so many additional defensive items and sticking together as 5. It's just not a good time to jump them.
And another clear issue for Vici Gaming in this particular game is it's hard to itemize, I think. You want so many different things against EG. You want the magic immunity, but then again, it's not that good since there's Chrono and Black Hole.
And there's also Midnight Pulse, which goes through that.
It goes through anyway. You need armor. There is a lot of physical damage coming out from Weaver, Alchemist, Void, as well as the Viper. And at the same time, you have to get health, because else you just get, there's still magical damage sources that bring you down. So it is a tricky game for Vici Gaming to itemize in. And to be honest, I think at this point in the game, they're past the point when their strategy was meant to peak. So now what's the plan B? There's the Kiras for Arteezy.
There's always Refresher Doom. Dragon Knight can get a lot bigger if you want to go late. Things like Daedalus, Satanic. He's not the quickest farmer, but for now he is the second most farm here on the map. And you do have Prophet, who, no matter what the situation, we've seen Prophets turn games, but for the time being, it just seems like EG are the ones who will get the jump. If you try to go for that too much split push, the Void's going to be there. And they're actually near the Roche pit right now. They'll make a smoke and they'll head towards the Radiant jungle, but Vici have slipped past them into their own woods. So this will be quite a bit of wasted time for EG. They might just farm the enemy woods instead, and neither team's going to find much. We do see Vici dropping down an aggressive ward in the Dire Woods, so they get some vision, and this could be...
Oh, this smoke might actually end up working.
Maybe they walk back into it
on their own.
They walk all the way back.
Back to the mid lane. Oh, Super is in a very bad spot in a moment.
Oh no.
Farm this way.
There's no backup yet. They're not here yet. Now the Chrono. He BKBs, but he just starts melting to the right click, as well as the Midnight Pulse going through that. But he will at least get something off the Dragon form now. They doom the Enigma, so he's out of the fight, but it seems they don't need him. They brain down Super, the Venge and the Echeversion melt. The Doom's dead as well. EG, they didn't even need a Black Hole. And they just wipe them.
Radiant's
Solar is going to do whatever he can in the top lane, but he doesn't have the great items for this kind of split push. He's gone for the combat build with Orchid inside. There's no Necro Book, there's no Kiras, there's no Stygian Desolator or anything, so he doesn't accomplish anything. PPD will come back, and EG are continuing mid with 4 big heroes. PPD defending. This is easily going to be tier 3.
They're not going to stop here. The boys in blue are looking at their first blade of Rex. Can Vici stop this push? There's no Doom. There's no Dragon Knight. He's going to buy back. And that will force EG off the lane, but it's still a huge victory. Roche respawning in anywhere from 1 to 4 minutes. And EG now with much better map control to take that one. There's an H-Champ ult heading towards the Dire Fountain, but not going to do anything. Everyone's at full HP.
He actually backtracks the impact.
Just to rub it in.
He's still going to be suffering from the Frostbitten effect, but not the biggest of deals. He's going to heal that up with the Mask of Madness when he goes to the creep wave. So another great fight from EG. They're definitely in great control of this game. It's interesting to see how little gold they're ahead with compared to the experience. We usually see these graphs kind of go hand in hand in games. Sometimes they're almost identical, but they're ahead by 25,000 experience. 10k on the gold only. But that's still a big amount here.
They do see Zai right now. They've got that Observer Ward they placed earlier, and they're looking for him. But he's backing off. Prophet comes in. He's got a Hex at the ready. Can he get this jump? He will. Sprout, no! Actually wins the Sprout. They still can go in with the swap, though. And they'll bring down Zai, who does not have buyback for 5 gold, which is to say he will have buyback when they need it.
The Roshan is not going to spawn just yet, though. They might be able to force the buyback, however, if Vici go down there. In case EG aren't aware that Roche isn't up yet.
He's going to be back right around the time the Roche spawns, it looks like.
But maybe they just go for the base push, and that's scary if they go high ground.
So they know
can jump in and they can buy back the Enigma. This is not a good spot. Even Super, I feel like, is exposed right now together with Sylar.
If they just get these two, that's probably enough to take the fight. And the outstun sets up a guaranteed chrono. But do they want to go for it? They'd rather reserve the Enigma buyback, I suppose. Seems to be the play from AG. Just threaten to go in and try and slow this one down. But Vici really want to force it. They lost their tier 3 earlier, and they want something back. Vici continue their push, and EG continue. Wait, now an outstun. It's a blink in, and he goes right on Super. The Void comes in. Chrono on 2. Straight onto Sylar. The swap out is there, though, and it does keep him alive for now. Maybe they get turret. Great ult. The Doom on Arteezy as well. Where's that Enigma buyback? He's just not using it. Now they chase. The Void's going to buy back. The Outlaw as well. And the Enigma just respawns now. Sylar goes for a TP out. And he will make it. No, he doesn't to Malefice. Just clipping him.
This is close for EG.
There's no Doom right now. Ancient Personal will be up in 15.
They know he's
And
up.
they still have Black Hole.
They're going to be able to claim this easily. Desolator and Weaver, Medallion and Alchemist, level 4 Acid Spray. This is going to be one of the fastest Roshans you have seen in the tournament when EG get down there. Even the Kiras on Arteezy.
Tower is under attack.
Oh, PPD's going to get bashed. Isn't friendly today.
You don't really care if he's friendly or not. Give us the damn Aegis. That's all they care about. Ancient Personal coming in.
The damage arrives there.
There's just a little bit. They're not even close, and EG know that EG can't really fight it with no Doom.
And Arteezy grabs the shield.
He needs it. They've been dooming him almost every fight, it feels like. They don't even bother really to go for other heroes. There was the one Doom on Enigma, but I think Arteezy's gotten the most Dooms of anyone this game. So now you really don't want to be dooming him.
Depends what you get for the trade-off. If you doom him and it allows you to take the fight and just kill him off afterwards twice, then it's a great call. But it's definitely more tricky now for Vici than it was before. And it looks like EG mean business. They still have the Black Hole that they didn't use in the previous fight. Chronosphere now level 3 for Universe, also available. And with Arteezy leading the charge, I think they're going to get this tower for free. These towers, wow.
They outlive long.
Not standing for long when EG start attacking.
They've got an AC on Arteezy, so that's -5 armor to begin with on all buildings, and then it's another -7 from the Deso, -12. That's about half the tower's armor. It really doesn't last long.
EG will not try to siege bottom just yet. It could try to go for mid. Oh, Dragon
BKB in the trees from Zion. Well, Fenrir now on the way out. They're going to Malefice him, but this is an early BKB. Now they swap into Enigma a bit deeper, and they doom him as well. So PPD's going to turn this, or maybe it's Universe. It's always goddamn Universe. Again with the Chrono, but is there follow-up there? Silo dropping low. Super tanking through this, doing a lot of damage. He's actually might be able to turn this on his own. Bringing down Arteezy, looking for more. There's an out stun that can come now, though. That's why he's going to dodge it. Tyler not so lucky, just fall back. If he dies, he's not going to be in the fight for a very long time. He stands on the high ground, and he chips at Mason, but he falls! A triple! This might be Rex, and this might be 2 lanes.
It's easily 2 lanes. The question is if EG can even get the third. They have a full minute on Dragon Knight as well as Nature's Prophet. No buyback on either. And they're looking healthy, to be honest. Only Universe is pretty low. Okay, Mason too. But if he wanted, he could continue the push now and just buy back time lapse.
Is under attack.
Then he would be pretty low.
So maybe just go heal it up.
Maybe they only they should be able to get 2 lanes here. Would be very surprised if they back off after the first one. But they lost a lot of damage by moving the Weaver back to base. We're probably going to see Mason sell his treads and buy routes of travel though, so he will be back in time for the second lane. And EG is still continuing. PPD charging up Concoction, going in for the stun.
Oh, that's way too far to dive, but it's just a stalling maneuver here from EG while they work on the mid lane. And this is the big one. You get 2 at this point, and Vici might just have to go for a throne rush. And with tier 4 still standing, that is not going to be an easy trade.
Thought for a moment EG were going to back there, but just
no, they keep on moving.
They'll be going in again.
They've got
range barracks are gone.
They've got buyback on the Viper as well as the Weaver. Weaver's actually not even here, and they're going to swap in Arteezy deep behind enemy line. Now he gets doomed, but they stand strong for now, and Zai can look for a black hole if they need to. Arteezy still alive, and they've lost the bend for this. Now the Chrono again. Universe super TP'd into it. He's going to get black hole for his trouble. What was he thinking? He gets caught. He can't do a thing. And now he gets run down. A few more right clicks would do him, and he gets bad. And they end him. They've lost everything. Vici are in shambles. Beautiful 3-0 stun. Can RTK turn it? He's close to doing so, but not close enough. It looks like they've actually killed off 3. But now the Weaver joins the fight. He wasn't even here for the start. Mason can start diving FY. Doom still cooling down. PPD blinks in, jams it in. And they can look for RTK here as well. The Swarm's brought his armor low.
Might be able to
he can't blink. He's diving the well. Get out of the game, Mason says. He can't finish the job, but it's still 2 lanes of Rex.
And they can start doing damage to the top lane now as well. 45 seconds or play material.
Can they just thrown it? Can they just thrown it?
No. 2 against 1. I don't think they want to go.
Not worth the risk.
Right yet.
There's that swap to worry about. PPD's the one you'd want to pick off here. Probably the squishier.
Doom is on
Radiant's
cooldown
top
though.
tower is under attack.
Well, they're going to show some respect here. I think they could have continued the push there and at least claimed the tower. Okay, that's a big item. Full hard flying out for Mason. With 2 lanes down.
If there was a graph for Mason's net worth relative to other heroes, he was way behind everyone for at least 2/3 of this game, but his team has created so much space, he's capitalized on it, and now he's gotten to that point where you can't really kill him quickly, but you definitely can't ignore him. And Sin, for me, the biggest problem is, who do you doom? Do you doom the Weaver? Do you doom the Viper? You've got Black Hole to worry about. There's Chrono. It seems Universe always gets it off first, so I guess you can't even think about going on him, but that's where Doom struggles. If you have so many high priority targets that you just can't choose one. And we're at that point now for EG.
Yeah, 40,000 experience.
That'll do it. 20k gold
it's
as
one
well.
of the highest I've seen in the tournament. I believe we had a game that went to almost 50,000 advantage. That was the game in which Navi US held out for an eternity against DK, if you remember.
Yeah.
I believe that was like won by 40,000 gold and 50,000 experience, or something like that.
I do want to point out, though, that we're looking at buybacks right now, and EG only have 1 on the Viper. So if somehow Vici managed to take a huge fight, Black Hole is cooling down for 50 seconds, so they won't have that unless this goes really long.
If they pull an LGD right now.
Can they possibly do it? Is there any way Vici can take this one? EG, even their racks might not be safe. Vici don't just want to take racks, though. They want to go for kills and then straight for the throne if possible.
Arteezy does have buyback because his gold is reliable right now, so...
Just the Viper, though. That's the only
reason
one.
he even has it, else they would have 0. But
are they close to it on anyone? Weaver in 50. So he might just have it in time for the end of this fight, if nothing else.
He will. He's going to get a CS or 2 now.
The Dragon form's down to about a third. It's taken up 1/3 duration, so you've got 2/3 to go. and still no real commitment from Vici. And you see EG are just hanging back, all to the north in fact, looking for a good chrono. It's an Alk stun to start it off, they won. Big chrono 2, now the Alk stun. From the north comes PPD, and from the south comes Universe, and EG descend on Vici with a black hole! Zai finds him, and it's it. It's all over for Vici. EG keep the dream alive and force a deciding Game 3.
Great team fight execution from EG. Easily to be MVP of the game. Universe.
What a player.
With one good chrono after the other and a couple of great black holes. It looked a little shaky in the start, and EG's draft definitely had some weaknesses, but they played to their strengths. Got a lot out of every single lane they had. And in contrast to game 1, Vici never really got a solid grip on the game.
Well, to find out how Vici can get a